Hey guys, how's it going? So as you may know, Iron Banner is back. It's going to be here for a 2-week duration this time around. And with that, I've decided to put together an off-meta build that I've had quite a bit of success in the Iron Banner, and that was a lot of fun at the same time. This build I'm calling Weapon Master. Specifically, we're going to be using the Lunulata 4B, the Enigma, and the other half. Alright, so let's jump into the build. Let's start with our subclass. We're going Prismatic. And I like to personally take Glacial Quake just because it's a lot of fun for me to use. I like that it's like an ice themed super, you know what I mean? You get to slam your gauntlet down to create a shockwave of ice, or you can have it supercharge your Shiver Strike for bonus damage and sprint through stasis crystals or frozen targets to shatter them instantly. Now, I don't personally take Shiver Strike, as you can see here. I'll get to those in a bit. Obviously, these you can't really change. I take Rally Barricade just because it's on a shorter cooldown than the Towering Barricade. Strafe, Lift, that's just personal preference. Okay, Shield Throw. I take this because I'm using an exotic, which gives me a second shield throw. I'm using the second chance gauntlets here. So that's my main reason for why I want to take this. Plus, it's a lot of fun for me to throw shields out. I like doing that. Okay, Suppressor Grenade. An explosive grenade that suppresses, preventing targets from using abilities for a short time. This is really good because besides doing decent damage, it also stops the enemy guardians from using their abilities against us. So that's awesome. Obviously, Diamond Lance is really good. I just like to have ice-themed abilities and using weapons like swords and glaives. So I'm trying to play... Lately, I'm trying to play more without using a lot of guns. And this just gives me something else that I can pick up and throw at the enemy. So that's why we take Diamond Lance. It says shatter or defeat targets with abilities or stasis weapons to create a stasis lance. And our main primary weapon is a stasis weapon. So that's another good reason why we take this right here. And then we take Knockout because we do a lot of melee attacks. Even if we're at a shield throws, if we're close enough for glaive range, then we're pretty close for melee as well. So what this does here is critically wounding a target or breaking their shield infuses your melee attacks with arc energy and increases your melee range and damage for a short time. So besides the damage buff, it extends your melee range, which is really awesome. And the second part, defeating targets with melee attacks makes you amplified and restores a portion of your health. Defeating more powerful combatants increases the amount of health restored. So obviously, once we kill people with our shield or with empowered melees, we become amplified, which on the top right over here, your movement, speed, and weapon handling are greatly increased. After sprinting for a short time, your movement speed is further increased. Rapidly defeating targets with arc damage makes you amplified. So basically, it gives us a faster sprint, which is really good for getting around the map or escaping a bad situation where you manage to kill someone, but there's two more guys after you. This helps you escape. As far as fragments, a lot of it is left up to your preference, but let me show you what I'm taking because I really enjoy this build. I'm taking Faceted Dawn. Powered melee hits against targets makes you radiant. Powered melee final blows make you and nearby allies radiant. Basically for us, it's giving us a damage boost to our weapons. Faceted Blessing, obviously we're kind of a melee centric, not really specifically focused, but we do a lot of melees. So final blows start health regeneration, while Transcendent, melee final blows start health regeneration for you and nearby allies. That second part doesn't happen too much. We don't really get a whole lot of Transcendent in this game mode, at least for me because I'm using mostly dark weapons, not really light. Facet of Ruin increases the size and damage of the bursts when you shatter a stasis crystal or frozen target, and increases the area of effect of solar ignitions. So we're not really getting solar ignitions, we are getting a lot of shatter of stasis crystals though, so that's why we run that. Facet of Command. Freezing or suppressing a target reloads your equipped weapons and increases weapon stability, aim assist, and airborne effectiveness. So the first part is good, but we're more focused on the second part, which says defeating frozen or suppressed targets creates a stasis shard or void breach. So for us, we're going to get a lot of our kills with our bow, which means we're going to drop stasis shards, which the stasis shard provides a little bit of melee energy back to you. Now we may manage to get a void breach if we kill someone with our shield or our grenade. So in that case, we would pick up a void breach, which basically gives us a class ability energy back. So either of those are good. And then the last fragment here is Facet of Purpose. Picking up an Orb of Power grants either Amplified, Restoration, Frost Armor, Woven Mail, or Overshield based on the damage type of your equipped super. So for us, since we're taking a Stasis super, we're going to be getting Frost Armor every time we pick up an Orb of Power, which stacks, and I think it stacks up to 5 maybe. I think I've only ever gotten it to 4 in a match, but I believe it goes above that. Okay, real quick, if you enjoy content like this, please like and subscribe. It shows me the type of content you all want to see and where I should focus my time and attention. Also, I'm really curious to know what builds you guys are running in the Iron Banner this time around. So please leave a comment below with the weapons you're using or the builds you're running. I'm really curious about that. Okay, back to the video. Okay, as far as weapons here, let's start with our primary, which is Lunulata 4B. This is a lightweight frame combat bow. I love this because it's lightweight, so it means that we can draw quickly and move faster while we have this equipped. It allows us to get around the map very efficiently. Okay, I like to take Ensemble, improved handling and reload speed when allies are nearby. So specifically, I'm using this for the Iron Banner, right? So I'm usually playing around my teammates. The build that I have is not really meant to go 1v1 or try to take on multiple people. I can do it, but I need a very specific things to happen. Like I need to have my glaive ammo up. I need to have my melee, my grenade. The more things I have ready to go, the more comfortable I feel taking on that type of fight. But most of the time, I'm going to be sitting back, running with my teammates, and shooting from afar with this weapon right here. Okay, the second perk, Adrenaline Junkie. This weapon gains increased damage and handling from final blows with grenades or this weapon. So basically, if I can get a kill with this bow or with my grenade, it gives me increased damage for a short amount of time, and that stacks up. I've had it stack up to 5 in this Iron Banner mode. I don't know if it goes bigger than that, but this is really good. I get improved handling and reload speed pretty reliably, and if I get a kill, I get increased damage. Okay, stability is maximized here. You can take any weapon mod you want. I just take increased accuracy and ready speed while firing from the hip. Okay, our special weapon is the Enigma, which is a craftable glaive. Alright, I like to go auxiliary reserves here for the increased shield duration. I go accurized rounds because you get the increased range, and I believe it increases projectile speed as well if I'm not mistaken. Impulse amplifier, this is enhanced, massively increases projectile velocity, substantially increases reload speed. So obviously if you can reload your glaive faster, that's going to be a huge plus, and your projectile goes out even faster, so win-win there. Unstoppable Force, blocking damage with your shield increases projectile damage or an improved duration. So we're going to be blocking a lot of damage because we're going to be up close to people or blocking while we're trying to approach them. So obviously the more damage we can block, the better for us. Psycho Hack. Sustained damage from this weapon lowers the target's damage output for a short duration. This is really good because you can hit someone with the glaive, and even if they're not down in one shot, it lowers the damage that they're going to be outputting back towards us. So this is a good amount of defense on this perk right here. Again, weapon mod is preference. I take Targeting Adjuster. This weapon gains better target acquisition. Just because I have bad aim, so I need all the help I can get. And last, we're going with our sword, which is also craftable. This is the other half. Jagged Edge for increased damage. Swordmaster's Guard here has low overall defenses but increases charge rate. Okay, Eager Edge. Obviously this is a really good ability because you get a really far lunge when you immediately switch to this weapon. So keep that in mind. You have to have another weapon out, switch to this one immediately, and then use your attack in order to get that really far lunge. So that's why we take that. And then Vorpal Weapon. Okay, in Iron Banner, I like to use the sword almost as like a quasi counter to people that have their super active. As you see here, increased damage against bosses, vehicles, and guardians with their super active. Stability is improved. Swords have improved guard resistance. Okay, weapon mod. I have increased magazine on here, but it doesn't really do anything because you don't get enough ammo to max it out. So maybe I'll just switch this over to increases this weapon's ready and stow speed. Quick access sling. Alright, so that's our sword. Alright, so let's talk about the seasonal artifact. So unfortunately, these first two columns don't provide a whole lot for us since we're using a bow as our primary weapon. We do get this just because it gives us a significantly discounted cost on our elemental charge mods. This doesn't do anything for us either. Okay, starting on the third column, we get Elemental Siphon. Rapid final blows with the kinetic weapon or a weapon matching your equipped super create an elemental pickup that matches your equipped super. So basically when we get kills with our bow, that's going to give us an elemental pickup, which is going to be a stasis shard, and that'll give us energy back to our melee ability. Overload sword. Landing consecutive hits with the sword you are wielding disrupts combatants, stunning them, delaying ability energy regeneration, and lowering combatant damage output. Strong against overload champions. Additionally, swords are always overcharged when that modifier is active. The few times where we do have our sword available to us, it is able to disrupt champions, stunning them, and it delays their ability regeneration, which is also good for us. At the same time, if we manage to get one hit but it doesn't kill, it's going to lower the amount of damage that they do back to us in return. So that's why we take that. Creeping Chill, stasis weapon final blows against slowed or frozen targets, release a burst that slows. So this is going to work, for example, if we're able to pick up a Diamond Lance and throw it to slow or freeze somebody, and then we get a kill through our Lunulata 4B, then we're going to get a burst of damage that's going to slow the enemies around them. Okay, Blade Stamina, repeatedly defeating combatants with the sword, refund some ammo. This is good because usually, at least in my experience, when I am able to get the heavy weapon ammo and get my sword going, I can usually take out about 2 people pretty quickly because people like to group up in Iron Banner. So this lets me get a little bit of ammo back and keep my attack going with my sword. Radiant Orbs, while you have a solar or prismatic subclass equipped, picking up an orb of power makes you radiant. So this just is an easy way for us to become radiant just by picking up an orb that either we create or our teammates create. Alright, Argent Blade, while you have armor charge, dealing damage with the sword, consumes an armor charge and empowers your sword for a short time, granting it bonus damage and energy charge rate. So we have a few ways to get armor charges for this build. So once we do and we're able to get our heavy weapon ammo, then this makes our sword that much stronger. Okay, and lastly, Shield Crush. While you have Woven Mail, Frost Armor, or a Void Overshield, your melee recharges faster and deals increased damage. So we are able to get Frost Armor through one of the aspects, our prismatic aspect, by picking up an orb and we get Frost Armor. And we also get an Overshield by throwing our melee ability, our shield. And when it hits, we get an Overshield from that. So both of those will let us recharge our melee quicker. And we become Radiant from this perk, Radiant Orbs. While you are amplified or radiant, your grenade recharges faster and deals increased damage. Okay, and I've tried a few different setups, but for me, I like to go 80 resilience here. Try to get as much recovery as I can, but not at the cost of losing my discipline and strength, because I'm trying to use these abilities as much as I can. But basically, 80 resilience is good for me. The more recovery, the better. And then I try to keep discipline and strength maybe between 80 and 70 each if I can. Try to keep them pretty close to each other. And then I'm going to go through these mods on the armor pretty quickly just because this video was getting a little bit longer than I had anticipated. So for the helmet, I go hands-on, Font of Wisdom, Stasis Targeting. On our exotic gauntlets, which provide us the extra shield throw melee, we go Melee Kickstart, Momentum Transfer, Fastball. Okay, here we go Unflinching Stasis Aim for our bow. We go Melee Damage Resistance, and so we get up close with our opponents whenever we have our glaive or sword out. And then we go Stasis Resistance just because it's really cheap, since we have a Stasis super. Okay, and then we go Stasis Weapon Surge here, again for the bow, Invigoration, and then a second Stasis Weapon Surge. Okay, so our Titan mark, we go Bomber, Outreach, and Time Dilation. And the reason why we go Time Dilation is because of up here, our Font of Wisdom causes our armor charges to decay over time. But it gives us a bonus to Intellect, which means that we are able to get our super ability faster. So that's why I like to go Time Dilation there. Thank you again for watching until the end. I'm having a blast playing in the Iron Banner. I'm more of a PvE player generally, but this time around I thought I'd try it out, and I'm having a lot of fun so far with this build. I'm going to try out the new weapons and the reworked weapons that have come back around. So I'll probably see you guys out there. Until then, thank you all for watching. I'm going to leave you with this last full game here of Iron Banner, just so you can see how the build works in practice. Hope you all have a great weekend, and I'll see you next time.
Opponent claimed Zone B. Zone A. Zone advantage is yours. That shut them down. Zone A lost. Two zones are yours. Zone B captured. Zone B lost. Captured Zone A. Two zones are yours. Zone C lost. Captured Zone B. Zone advantage is yours. Zone A lost. You captured Zone C. Zone advantage is yours. Zone B lost. You captured Zone A. Two zones are yours. Zone C lost. 5 minutes left. Sound tactics so far. Keep the pressure on. It's almost over. Zone almost effortless, but I know better.